So we're going to get into updating MongoDB. So far we've just mostly been talking about reading and writing to MongoDB. We're going to be talking more about now how to do updates, deletes, those kind of things. So the first, like we've already talked about insert one and insert many, right? Insert one is I want to insert one thing into my database or my collection. Insert many is I have an array of documents. I would like to insert all of those into my collection. You'll also notice that there is a function called insert, right? It's not insert one, not insert many, but just insert. This is actually the old way of doing it. I would recommend to not use insert anymore. I think it's also deprecated according to MongoDB. It would intelligently decide if you're trying to insert one or if you're trying to insert many, depending on what you gave it. But what they found is that people were just messing things up and accidentally inserting too many or accidentally only inserting one thing. Normally that way. They would try and to insert many objects, and they would actually end up inserting one very, very large document. So they just recommend tell MongoDB up front you're trying to insert many or insert one. And this is true of all of the methods we're going to be talking about. There's a delete one, delete many, and a delete. Just use the delete one and the delete many, and same thing with update as well. Do the update many or update one. So I'm not going to show you again insert one and insert many. We already did that one, so we're going to move on to updates. So the first one that we're going to do here is we're going to do update one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say db.pets.update1. So this is going to work just like find one, where it's going to find the first one that it encounters. Usually, I think it's by create date. It's going to update that one. It's not going to update anything else. So here I'm going to say update one, and the first thing that you're going to give it is a query object. This is the exact same object that you would provide to find or find one or find many, right? Or there's no find many, it's just find. So I'm going to say find one that's a dog, that's named Luna. And you don't have to put quotes there. Those quotes are optional because it's JavaScript, right? Name Luna, breed Havanese. So we're going to find my Luna. Okay. And then the second object that you're going to provide to it is you're basically going to tell MongoDB how do you want to update this. And all I want, we want to set her owner to me, Brian Holt. $set. So this is going to be basically an object that's going to do like an object merge or what is object.assign. If you're familiar with the JavaScript, that's how this is going to work. So I'm going to provide this in another object, and I'm going to give it an owner of Brian Holt. Okay. So let's just kind of break this down. Update one, you're going to provide it a query object and an update object. The first one is going to find the record that you're trying to, or the document that you're trying to update. The second one is going to tell it how to update it. So if I run this, did I not include enough? Oh, that's what I did wrong. Hold on. I put too many curly braces. This seems to happen to me quite a bit, but this is what I'm just going to copy and paste this one. Oh, I need to do that again. There we go. So it'll give you acknowledge true. This says like this was successful. This actually did happen. It matched one thing, which is good because that's what I asked for, update one, and it modified one thing. So it will let you, if I ran this again, you would notice that it said it matched one, but it didn't modify anything because that was already the way that it was, right? So now if I change this from, if I say db.pets.find, and I search by owner Brian Holt, you notice that it's only going to return one. So a couple things that I've demonstrated here. One, we just showed you how to do update one, right? So that's going to be updating this one to be Brian Holt. But also notice that no other pet object or pet document in our collection has an owner. I just made that one up on the fly, that piece of schema, right? So that's what's really cool about MongoDB is like, if you want to change the schema of your collection, just do it. There's no pomp and circumstance to do anything about this. You just go and you can change things on the fly. It's one of the superpowers of MongoDB. It's also one of its downfalls because it's really easy to mess this up, right? Because it's not going to challenge you. The guardrails are off. You can do whatever you want. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. So let's do an update many. We're going to do db.pets.update many. Let's say it's every dog's birthday today. It's dog birthday day. Let's do that. So the first thing is we're going to do is we're going to do an update many. We're going to give it a query object. So we're going to find every dog, type dog, and then we're going to give it a query object, and we're going to say we're going to use a special operator for updates, and we're going to increment all of their ages by 1, right? Because some of them will be of age 1, some will be age 2, some will be age 3, and we want to just add 1 to all of those. So we'll say $inc for increment, and then we're going to find age, and we're going to want to increase it by 1. You could increase it by 2, right, if you wanted to. So now if we run that, you can see that we matched 2,501 documents in the collection, and we modified all of those. So actually, if we find again that dog, you can see here Luna's age was age 8 here, and now you can see Luna's age is age 9 because we incremented all of their ages by 1. Make sense? There's a bunch of those. There's I put a link in here as well. We can just take a look here. Increment, rename. You can rename fields. So for example, if you're trying to change, names to be title, I don't know, something like that, you can do this rename that renames the keys for all of these. You can unset, so you can just delete something off of an object. You can insert the current date. All these things are available to you. So we talked about update, specifically using this set. Yeah, you can see here this particular set operator to change an object. So we were just changing and leaving everything else the same. There's something as well called replace. So you can replace one and replace many. And instead of providing here a set object, you just you provide the whole object, and it will replace everything. Does that make sense? So yeah, be aware that you can use update or you can use replace. So let's talk about upsert, which is a ridiculous word, but it is one that you'll hear a lot in talking about databases. Upsert is the idea is like, if you find something, update it. If it's not there, insert it. Does that make sense? So it's kind of this atomic transaction, or this atomic query that allows you to change something if it exists. If not, then go ahead and update it. So let's go ahead and run one of those really quick. So we're going to say db.pets.update1. And let's say we want to put in here Sarah Drasner's dog. I don't know if you've ever seen Sarah Drasner's dog, but it's adorable. The dog's name is Pseudo, so you can tell the dog to pseudo sit, which is just the funniest joke that never gets old to me. All right. So type dog name Pseudo. You'll notice that we don't have a dog named Pseudo in our database right now. And the breed is a Wheaton, which I had to go look up, which are adorable dogs, by the way. Okay, so that's the thing that we're going to query for. That query will not match anything in our database. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give it a set object. So $set, and because it's an upsert, we want to provide it the whole object. Because if nothing matches that dog, then it's going to take that set object and make that the new object. So you have to provide it with everything, or else it will be lacking that in the new object. So type dog, name pseudo, breed Wheaton, age 5. I don't actually know how old pseudo is, but I just took a guess. Index, we'll just give it a random index, so I'm going to give it 20,000. And the owner is Sarah Drasner. If you don't know Sarah, she's another instructor in Front End Masters and has amazing courses on design and Vue and lots of other cool stuff. Okay, so that's our set object. Then the last thing is we're going to give it one more parameter to this update 1. This is like a configuration once we can provide different sorts of configurations to this query. We're just going to give it an upsert true. That basically says if you don't find it, insert it. I forgot a curly brace here, so I'm just going to copy and paste this from my notes. Promise you it's the same thing though. So we're querying for this, it's not going to find it. We're going to try and set it to this, so if this did exist, this would get updated. Because it's not going to exist, it's going to get inserted. So you can see here, matched 0, modified 0, upserted ID. This means it actually did get inserted into our collection. So now if we just said db.pets.find one name pseudo, we would find one. Our good friend pseudo the dog.